Correa rumors, are they true? 713-780-ESPN. I believe they're true. Do you believe they're true?
I believe they're definitely talking. Yeah, I believe, and of course, it's semantics about who called who first, but it doesn't matter. I believe there's been conversations, and they'll probably continue to have conversations.
Well, I think the Astros called the Twins first.
Okay.
No doubt about it. Esox hurt. Hey, what do you think about trading that Correa guy back home where he lives in the offseason?
I mean, you look at it, too, from the perspective of if you're the Astros and you know that financially that franchise seems to be in kind of a mess, and they're trying to sell the team and they're trying to cut back salaries, and he makes, I think, a quarter of their salary, that they'd probably be open to. They're not going anywhere, I don't think, this year, so they're looking to clear house. I'm sure that they would love to, and with him having a no trade clause, I mean, that obviously complicates everything further, and you know that he had a good time here and probably love to come back here.
Yeah, I heard a week from Monday that the Astros called on Correa. I don't want to out my source. I'm not sure he wants to be outed. I guess I gave away
Give it a he.
potentially the identity. I didn't believe it at the time, so I was like, I'm not going to even talk about this because I don't even believe it at the time. Then Bonda starts to tweet about it. Like 2 days later, I think he was tweeting about it like last Wednesday. I heard about it on Monday. So I was like, okay, like Bonda does have some sources. Like not everything he has said has come to be truth, but he's like, hey, they're kicking this around. Okay. I do believe he knows some people within that organization. I think that's been proven. I don't think he broke the Verlander news like he claimed a couple of years ago, but I do think that he's connected. Then Schwab starts to talk about it. Schwab's connected. Some people don't think he's a source. I think that Schwab has proven at times that he gets some stuff too from I don't know who. Then you see, who was it today? Nightingale, one of them.
Nightingale started it, and then Passan jumped on it.
Well, the one that really cemented it to me was Brian McTaggart did. Brian McTaggart said sources confirmed the Astros are interested in Carlos Correa. And if Brian McTaggart is saying that it's happened. Brian McTaggart is as plugged in as anybody there. And I trust Chandler Rome's reporting too. And Rome would later kind of he had a story today where he's like, the chances of them trading for Correa are a long shot for now. But I definitely think there's at least interest there. I still think there's a lot of hurdles that have to be jumped in order for it to happen. But the interest is real. That to me is very, very obvious. I've come around to the idea where I can be talked into this. There's some things that I would like to happen. Like I would love for Minnesota to retain some of the salary. I don't want to be paying the $33 million per year in totality. Now, 95 for the next 3 years for Correa. Is that the worst contract in the world? It's not the worst contract in the world. There's an obvious need at third base in which he would be your obvious third baseman. What does it mean next year? I mean, Correa would probably have to play second base, in my opinion. So, like, those are things you would have to work out. I would love to get Willie Castro in the deal as well. Like, that's somebody who Chandler Rome reported that the Astros would have shown interest in. He's a switch hitter, can obviously bat left-handed, can play second base, so you have a totally rebuilt infield. I can be talked into the idea of Correa in Minnesota or coming back to Houston. I would have no problem with it. Always love Correa here. So yeah, I'm getting more and more on board for Carlos Correa's return.
Yeah, no, look, once you said what you said yesterday about where he would play going forward, I'm like, that's a bridge you cross when you get there, but at the same time, it is worth contemplating because of the fact that you did just sign Christian Walker on the first year of a 3-year, so he's your first baseman. Paredes has done a hell of a job at third base this year. I don't think you want to move him, and I don't think Peña's going anywhere. So second base makes sense to me, and as long as he's okay with and willing to play that position, that infield is pretty salty. It's pretty damn good. And to me, it just comes down to the price. I always say the price matters, but the price in twofold. Like, what do you have to give up? And then more importantly, how much are they going to absorb? Because, I think you look at it, he's got, I think, 3 and close to 196 to 100 million in the next 3 years. How much are they willing to take off of your plate? Because if they're willing to take off close to half of it, I'd be all in. Just because I think that you need him for now. And I think that overall, I do think that it would spark him a little bit. He hasn't been great the last year or so, But I do believe that getting back to Houston, the injuries is the only thing that would concern me. I think he would be rejuvenated. I think he'd be excited. He'd be in the middle of a team that's going to the playoffs, and I think that he would help this team.
The phrasing on there is important. Like, he hasn't been very good this season offensively. He was really good last year. Really, really good last year. Hit 310, OPS plus of 151. So it depends. Like, if you're talking about like the last 365 days, I would disagree. If you're talking about the 2025 season, I would. Yeah, you're right about 2025. He has been better lately, as opposed to he kind of had the Yainer Diaz start, where he had a really bad start, and he's been consistently better since like the first month of the year. But no, I would. The interesting thing is like how much salary would Minnesota retain? I think it's more of a sliding scale. Like, if you assume the entire contract, you might be able to get him for free. You might be able to say, hey, we'll give you this flyer, low A-ball prospect. We'll just take on the entirety of the contract. If you're demanding that Minnesota takes 50% of the salary, now you're probably going to have to include one of your top prospects. So it's like a sliding scale. Mm-hmm. The more they retain, the better the prospect you have to give. The less they retain, the less prospect you have to give. And look, you're going to go into the luxury tax whether they retain 50%, whether they retain 0%. So personally, me, selfishly, I'm not the one paying Correa $33 million a year. I would want them to retain as much of the salary as possible, the Astros, not ask Minnesota to pay on it at all. That way you don't give up as good a prospect. But I don't think Jim Crane will operate that way.
I don't think he will either. In weighing it, then you also have to weigh, if you are looking big picture after this year, does that hinder the chances of Brice Matthews being on this team in the next 3 years?
Sure.
Because if Correa's going to play second, then there's really no room for Brice Matthews, assuming that he doesn't make a position change to the outfield.
I mean, he could. I mean, he's certainly capable.
Yeah, he's capable of playing like
the
center
outfield.
field.
Yeah, he is.
But at the same time, it would just be interesting to me, what they would do or how they would look at Brice Matthews if you're going to have Correa for this one and potentially 2 or 3 more, and you have that entire lineup pretty much, that infield locked up because Walker's got 2 more, because you got 2 more years of team control with Paredes. Mm-hmm. Like, what would you do?
It's pretty easy what you do in 2025. Like, Correa plays second base. Right. Like, it's very, very simple this year. The questions start coming into play next year. For me, I'm playing Isak at third. I don't think he's capable of playing second base. I don't think he has the lateral agility to play second base. He's sure-handed. That's why I like him at third. Personally, I would play Correa at second. Now, to your point, he's got to sign off on that if he's going to waive his no-trade clause. I'm not hell-bent that Brice Matthews has to be in this organization going forward. Maybe you could use him as a trade for another bat, or maybe he's the piece that gets you Willie Castro or whatever, or maybe he's the piece that allows Minnesota to retain 30% of Carlos Correa's contract and salary. So if you are making the trade for an infielder with club control, Brice Matthews, I agree with you and echo what you say. He becomes somebody that is very easily moved.
Because that was my thinking then, whether you do make it a bigger trade and you go after Castro, or you do use Brice Matthews as a guy that could be a centerpiece to get you another plug-and-play veteran player that you could really take advantage of right now. That would be very, very interesting to me, because there is no place for him to play short of him changing positions yet again. Mm-hmm. And I think that teams would be attracted to a young player with team control that looks like he's got some upside.
Absolutely. I think he would be enticing to a Minnesota. A former first-round pick that has shown big league pop, still has a ways to go with contact and all of that.